Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.
What does the term digital workplace mean to you? In today's world of AI, robotics, and AR, it's much more than an office full of people on computers. It can be anywhere from a factory floor to the top of a crane to the cockpit of an F1 car. Wherever your digital workplace may be, TeamViewer's mission is to make work better. How? By securely connecting your people with the data, expertise, or insights they need in real time to make work more efficient. By automating and streamlining IT and OT support to fix problems before they happen, to make work more productive. And by bringing all the possibilities of a secure and flexible digital workplace to all your people everywhere to make work more innovative. So discover how TeamViewer can make work better, wherever it happens across your business. Learn more at teamviewer.com/workbetter. Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, May 8th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up on the context of those stories, and help each other understand.
Today, Brett Rounsaville tells us why the Abu Dhabi Disney may be the best Disney yet, and Samsung's Slim phone has a hot date.
Oh, yeah, it does. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Shannon Morse.
Let's start with what you need to know with the big story. After much speculation about a finally a release date, Samsung has announced a virtual event for next Monday. So you aren't going to have to wait too long to find out more. That's May 12th, where they're going to finally go deep on the new Galaxy S25 Edge. The event's going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern. So it's evening time here in the US. A little different. Samsung often has their events in the morning. So that's a little different. Samsung is offering a $50 credit for accessories or other products on Samsung.com if you place a reservation now. There's no obligation to purchase the device if you sign up for that. So if you're thinking about it, you might as well do that because, it could bring you $50 of credit. Samsung first teased this device during the S25 event that they held just this past January. Later at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Samsung had the device on display as well, allowing people, including myself, because I was at MWC, to get very close to the slim smartphone without touching it. And until now, most of the details outside of just the slim look of the device have been shared through leaked information only. So this event's going to obviously shed the actual information, but just to pull out a few pieces of information, then we can kind of talk about this device because I know you're excited about it, especially Shannon. 5.85 millimeters thin. If one thing I noticed at Mobile World Congress is I looked at that device and then I went over to another part of the Samsung booth and looked at the Galaxy Tab S9, which if you've ever seen that tablet is really, really thin. That one is 5.5 millimeters thin. So the phone's slightly thicker, but not by much than that tablet. That gives you a sense of kind of the slimness. 6.7 inch 1440p display, very high end internal Snapdragon 8 Elite, 12 gigs of RAM, 256, 512 gig storage, 2 rear cameras, 1 front facing. And then the kicker a 3,900 milliamp hour battery, which is definitely lower than what we're used to. And finally, and then I want to hear your thoughts, rumors pointing to a release in China and Korea on May 23rd, US and Europe seeing a delay by at least 1 week. Who knows, maybe longer. We'll find out soon. But I know you're excited. We were talking kind of as we were getting ready to do the recording here. And Shannon, you lit up at this story. So tell me why you're so excited about the Edge.
Yes, I'm very excited about this device. Well, on the one hand, Samsung devices are one of my daily drivers. So I'm really interested to see, like, especially how powerful this is going to be compared to a lot of the ultra and premium flagship devices that I'm currently using. And I'm also interested to see like how it dissipates heat and how it handles a lot of those prosumer user modes that I generally use. It does look like a pretty interesting device all in all. I am curious to know how you feel about, given that it has a 6.7 inch display, 1440p. That's great, but it's also super, super thin. Do you think that it's going to be a really durable device? It is pretty similar to the Tab S9 and even the Tab S10, which
Yes.
I've checked out both of those in hand. So in terms of the thinness, it's very comparable to those, but those are also tablets. So chances are you might be putting that into like some kind of sleeve or something like that when you're using it. So you've seen it in person. Like, what do you think it's going to be a pretty durable device?
Well, I mean, you know, I think that's part of the story that Samsung has to tell, because I think that's the question that I think a lot of people have. I mean, having seen it in person, like when you're talking about the tablet being very thin, like you don't put a tablet in your pocket and then sit down.
Right.
So there's no question that tablet is never going to become an accidental foldable device in your pocket. Whereas something like this, I have to imagine that Samsung has gone to great lengths to make this durable. But it really remains to be seen. Like what's different about the frame? What's different about the structure to keep that thinness intact? While I was in Barcelona for Mobile World Congress, I also got to actually go hands-on because I couldn't with the Slim. They wouldn't let you touch it. They actually had people that would, come in and like force you to back away if you got too close to it. But at a different part of the event, I went to the Techno booth and they had the Spark Slim, which is a 5.75 millimeter thin device, slightly thinner than what Samsung has here. And I got to go hands on with that. And, it was made out of, I think the one that I had was ceramic. And I mean, it was an amazing it felt really amazing in the hand to have something that thin and that light and yet in the smartphone form factor and everything. But even with that thing, I was like, all right, this feels durable. But the real test is when it gets into my pocket and I sit down in my car because I forgot that it's there. Is it actually going to survive? And I would say it probably is, but that's part of the story that Samsung has to tell.
It's also going to be really interesting to see how this falls in line with their current market space. We have the flagship devices, the super nice, expensive ones. We have the foldies and the flippies. So where's this one going to fall in line? Obviously, it's not going to be that high end, given it only has 2 cameras on the back, for example. Where's it going to fall in terms of the regular S25 and the Plus? And then we have the A series models, which are more your mid-grade tier. So that's going to be interesting to test these alongside with some of those models and see which ones people find to be the most relevant to their use cases.
Like, where does Samsung price this, right? Like, if you've got the 3 different pricings of their standard phones, somewhere up around $1,000. No, I guess it's more like 12 or 13 for the Ultra. Yeah, right. If I had to look at this, I'd probably say it's probably going to be somewhere in the $1,000 range because they're going to bank on, yes, this is a premium device, but you also make some trade-offs for the fact that it's this new thing that apparently is a trend that's building right now, which is super slim smartphones. And I don't see them going the low high end on this. I see them kind of doing what they did with foldables to be like, yeah, well, you are sacrificing a little bit to get this new trend. And you're going to pay a little bit more for it because it's different, it's new, and all that. I'm curious to know from you, is the slim phone thing, like, why does it exist? Why do people want super slim phones? And are you willing to trade off your battery? Because 3,900 milliamp hour battery is not a very large battery.
That's not a large battery at all. I mean, we have some batteries that are hitting like 5,000 milliamps per hour nowadays. So that's pretty low compared to those ones. But if it's efficient, it might last just as long, especially if it's not as power hungry as some of those premium devices are. So slim devices for me are not necessarily something that I look for in a device. I'm okay with it being a little bit more of a candy bar or a brick, as opposed to something that's crazy thin, partially because I'm clumsy.
Me too.
I drop devices all the time. So the more durability I can get out of a device, the better. Yeah. Now, I'm sure that we could talk about these all day, Jason. I'm sure we could. Yeah,
I will just end on this. The TechnoSpark Slim that I mentioned earlier, 5.75 millimeters thin, so thinner than the device we're talking about here, had a 5,200 milliamp hour battery in it. So it is possible.
Wow.
But I think battery technologies are different, right? They wouldn't tell me at that booth whether that was silicon carbon battery tech, which allows you to fit more in the same space. They were saying that it wasn't, but I don't know how you have a device that thin and still have a battery that large. And if Samsung can't do that, then it makes me really question it. So anyways, a lot of unanswered questions. And I, like you, am very curious to find out more about this device.
Well, I'm sure we're going to hear more about it, especially once we get review units in hand. So make sure to tag along with us while we discover these new slimmer devices. But DTNS is actually made possible by you, our listeners. So special thank you to Matt Zaglin, Jeff Wilkes, and Pele Glendale. And also we have new patrons, including Bob, George, Anatoly, Aaron, Jason, and me.
Me? You?
Their name is me.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were a patron, Shannon. And I was going to say, bravo.
Not me.
You, me, not me.
We got a new patron named me.
Nonetheless, thank you, everybody, for your support. It's great having you on board. There is a growing expense eating into your company's profits. Your cloud computing bill. What if you could cut your cloud bill in half and improve performance? Well, if you act by May 31st, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure can help you do just that. OCI is the next generation cloud designed for every workload, where you can run any application or AI project faster and more securely for less. This half-off offer is only for new U.S. customers with a minimum financial commitment. See if you qualify at oracle.com/dailytech. Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Trust isn't just earned, it's demanded. Whether you're a startup founder navigating your first audit or a seasoned security professional scaling your GRC program, proving your commitment to security has never been more critical or more complex. That's where Vanta comes in. Businesses use Vanta to establish trust by automating compliance needs across over 35 frameworks, like SOC 2 and ISO 27001, centralized security workflows, complete questionnaires up to 5 times faster, and proactively manage vendor risk. Vanta not only saves you time, it can also save you money. A new IDC white paper found that Vanta customers achieve $535,000 per year in benefits, and the platform pays for itself in just 3 months. Join over 9,000 global companies like Atlassian, Quora, and Factory who use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. For a limited time, our audience gets $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/DTNS. That's VANTA.com/DTNS for $1,000 off.
Worried about what ingredients are hiding in your groceries? Let us take the guesswork out. We're Thrive Market, the online grocery store with the highest quality standards in the industry. We restrict 1,000 plus ingredients, so you can trust that you'll only find the best high quality, organic, and sustainable brands, all free of the junk. With savings up to 30% off and fast carbon-neutral shipping, you get top trusted groceries at your door, and you can stop worrying about what your kids get their hands on. Start shopping at thrivemarket.com/podcast for 30% off your first order and a free gift.
Support for this podcast and the following message is brought to you by E-Trade from Morgan Stanley. With E-Trade, you can dive into the market with easy-to-use tools, $0 commissions, and a wide range of investments. And now there's even more to love. Get access to industry-leading research and insights from Morgan Stanley to help guide your decisions. Open an account and get up to $1,000 or more with a qualifying deposit. Get started today at etrade.com. Terms and other fees apply. Investing involves risks. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney LLC, member SIPC. E-Trade is a business of Morgan Stanley.
All right, there's more that we need to know today, so let's get right into the briefs.
Nintendo is forecasting 15 million Switch 2 console sales by the year ending March 2026, falling short of analyst expectations and reflecting a cautious and uncertain outlook in light of U.S. tariffs. Pre-orders have been strong, particularly in Japan and the U.S., but Nintendo is being conservative in its projections over the possibility of price increases or limited supply. Still, this projection, if it holds true, would make the Switch 2 one of the fastest selling consoles in history.
Yeah, no doubt. This is going to be a popular console. It just really remains to be seen whether the market conditions are friendly to it or, a detriment to it. And it's still a ways to go before we find out, what that answer is. So, and this is not the only thing that has uncertainty or a company that has uncertainty with their products. Microsoft has raised the base prices of its Surface lineup by around 20%. The 13.8-inch Surface laptop and 13-inch Surface Pro now start at $1,200, up from $1,000. Accessories like power supplies also impacted there. The 15-inch Surface laptop remains in place at $1,300. Microsoft's new devices that Tom and I talked about earlier this week on Tuesday, they're keeping their prices in place, of course, because they just announced them. But all of this makes the pricing structure oddities that we discussed on that show suddenly make at least a little more sense, right? This was the plan all along. Announce the new devices. Yes, they matched the prices for a couple of days, and then later we boost, the prices on the older, more powerful devices, and now it all makes sense. But information that you probably want to know if you're interested in some of these older devices, those willing to pull the trigger today can, at least at the time of this recording, find the old pricing on Best Buy and Amazon. So if you're thinking about it, go, go, go.
A U.S. federal appeals court once again upheld Microsoft's $68.7 billion USD acquisition of Activision Blizzard, a rejection of the Federal Trade Commission's latest attempt to block the deal on antitrust grounds. Now, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals agreed with the lower court that the FTC failed to demonstrate Microsoft's acquisition would harm competition through restricted access to games or dominating game subscription and cloud streaming markets. Now, this could be the last word in the case, securing Microsoft's 2023 acquisition once and for all.
We did it, says Microsoft. We did it. We win. Yeah,
oh boy.
Yeah, I never consider these things done, but I also don't, I'm not a lawyer. So what do I know? I'm not a law expert. Who knows? OpenAI announced that Fiji Sumo, currently CEO of Instacart, is joining the company as the new CEO of applications and reporting directly to Sam Altman. In overseeing this new division, Simo will work to bring its business and operational teams together, also scaling the company's business functions as they enter the next phase of growth. Simo will remain CEO at Instacart while the company transitions toward a successor, and will also stay on as chair of Instacart's board. She is expected to join OpenAI in her new role sometime later this year. It's important to note that Tom is going to be talking with Andrew Main in a special interview that's coming out on Saturday about why OpenAI hired her and how it might actually change how you think about OpenAI. There you go.
Instacart, that's going to be a really interesting interview from Tom and Andrew. I can't wait to listen to that. Now, Anthropic launched a web search API for its Claude AI models. Cool. I love that name. Hi, I'm Claude.
He's wearing
AI.
a bow tie, isn't he? He's like wearing a bow tie. He has to be.
Now, this is allowing developers to integrate Claude with real-time access to web information. Claude will be able to determine when a query needs current data, generate and refine search queries, retrieve and analyze results, and present answers with direct source citations. Now, developers have the ability to set domain-level permissions and customize search behavior. Organizations can enable or restrict web search as well.
I mean, search and AI is just a big trendy thing that's happening right now. They're all going in that direction. It's kind of surprising that we haven't heard this from Anthropic yet, but they are the AI company that likes to see itself as the safe AI, the safety AI company, the company that cares about, privacy and safety and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes they take a little longer with things like that. We will indeed. Indeed, we will. The U.S. presidential administration plans to rescind a Biden-era rule that restricted exports of advanced AI chips. You may have heard of it as the AI diffusion rule that divided countries into 3 tiers with varying chip access. The reversal is set to take place prior to the original May 15th implementation date, which is like next week. American chip makers like NVIDIA had criticized the rule, saying that it stifled innovation, saying that it was overly complicating global sales. The U.S. presidential administration plans to implement a more flexible approach that continues to target strict measures to China. Yes, of course, but allows other countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia to negotiate chip access directly with the U.S. So this is all about like, no, hey, you know what? We'll work with you. We're willing to negotiate if we can find some terms that work in our favor. So that's what we're going to see.
Yeah, my main concern when it comes to technology internationally is security and privacy concerns, of course. So we'll just have to see how this goes.
Yep.
Google has released a dedicated Gemini app for iPad, now available globally on the App Store. The native app offers a full screen optimized experience and supports split view multitasking between apps. Gemini Live, deep research, audio overviews, and the ability to generate images and video are all on board, and the app includes a home screen widget.
All right, iPad users, get your Gemini, I suppose.
That's pretty cool.
Android, yeah, on Android, we don't have the this was made for the tablet, this was made for the phone thing. So, as a not iOS user, I see this and I'm like, oh, that must be nice to get like the very, very highly tailored version of something like this. So I don't know.
Is that what it's like to be an Apple user?
Is that what it's like? I don't know. Yeah. I'm so inexperienced as an Apple user. I get it. Well, this is really interesting right here. If you got a lot of money. Lenovo announced the new Legion 9i, a high-end 18-inch gaming laptop with a unique carbon fiber lid, an optional 2D and 3D glasses-free display that uses eye tracking technology and a lenticular lens array. Top-tier specs, of course, include an Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX CPU, NVIDIA RTX 5090 GPU, up to 192 gigs of RAM, and 8 terabytes of storage, all user upgradable. The 4K screen that's on board can run up to 240 hertz in 2D and 1920 by 1200 at 244 hertz in 3D. And there's even a special mode that reaches 440 hertz for fast-paced games. Pricing has not been announced, but one thing's for sure, this is going to be pricey when it launches in North America later this fall.
I've seen their 3D display technology in person at events like CES, and it actually looks really good. So I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to be implemented, especially later this year. I'll hopefully get a review unit in because this would be awesome to test. Now, problem with reviewing something like this is how do you convey this stuff? Because it really requires you being very hard
in front of it. It's really hard to review technology like this without, because you just kind of have to describe it more than you can show it.
Yeah, that's very true. I just kind of want to test it myself. I want to play video games 3D.
I would too.
Now, those are the essentials for today. Let's dive a little bit deeper.
And we're going to talk a little bit about Disney in today's interview. This week, Disney announced plans to build a theme park in Abu Dhabi that would be its most tech-centric yet. And Tom Merritt talked to former Disney theme park designer Brett Rounsaville about what that actually might mean.
Brett, thank you for taking the time from a very busy day to chat about Disney stuff.
Yeah, I am so excited. This is the biggest news in a minute from Disney, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we're getting, at some point, we don't have a date, a new theme park on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is the capital of the United Arab Emirates. Yas Island is one of the islands. I think Abu Dhabi itself is kind of technically an island. And the most interesting thing about this is the deal structure. There are 6 parks that Disney has, but they won't own this one.
Right. And in fact, it's not the only one they don't own. We don't have all the details, but the deal structure is really similar to the deal structure with the Oriental Land Company, who owns Tokyo Disney Sea and Tokyo Disneyland. And what is fascinating about those deals is that although the Oriental Land Company owns the parks, they still license from Disney all of the design. So the Imagineers are the ones who are working on these projects, but in a lot of circumstances, without the same budgetary restrictions they get in the U.S. parks. So my favorite thing to point out is if you go Google the Hollywood Tower Hotel or the Tower of Terror at Disney World, and you Google the Tower of Terror in Tokyo Disney Sea, one of them is Art Deco themed. So it is largely just a big beige rectangle. Mm-hmm. And the other one is a Gothic architectural masterpiece. It's the craziest discrepancy ever. And you see that across the board at Tokyo Disney, just because the Oriental Land Company has a little bit more money to throw around. And I think Morale is going to be in a really similar position.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about, I don't know much about Morale. I'm not expecting you to be an expert on Morale, but in this announcement, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, said this would be the most tech-centric park yet. And a lot of what Abu Dhabi does to position itself is as a place of innovation and cutting edge technology. They have an F1 circuit on the same island that Disney is going to build their theme park. So they're very much trying to be like, we are on the forefront of everything. What could they mean by that? Like from your experience, what could set the Abu Dhabi Disney apart from the others?
Yeah, I would not be shocked if that weren't morale messaging that Disney is happy to co-opt, because realistically, every Disney park that is built is the most technologically advanced and immersive that they've ever built.
Okay, yeah.
At no point were people not walking in being mesmerized and amazed by singing parrots in 1960. And now I think really though what it means is Imagineering right now is leaning really heavily into things like robotics. So there will certainly be things to interact with that are walking around in the park. They've been making a lot of hay over their new holotile product, which they haven't found a use for yet, but will nonetheless likely find its way into an immersive experience of some kind, which is basically like a omnidirectional treadmill sort of, but also like it can control itself. An omnidirectional treadmill wherein you don't have to be doing the walking for it to be doing the moving. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's Ready Player One, but you're not in control.
It is very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you can be in control. It has
It's optional. Okay. Got it.
Right. But certainly things like that, robotics, I'm sure they'll lean heavily into. I feel like they've been moving on a lot of their rides towards trackless technology. The two biggest California-based examples are Mickey's Runaway Rail and The Rise of the Resistance. Both of those are trackless technologies, and both of them use screens heavily. And in the case of Rise of the Resistance, it's really like 3 to 5 rides kind of all strung together. They're all very immersive. I'm sure you're going to be seeing a lot more of that. But Disney steps up its game with every park, and now they have someone with deep pockets willing to blow apart budgetary constraints. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, it seems like the advantage this will have is not so much that there's anything particularly different about Morale, there might be, but that they're starting fresh. They don't have to take away anything to give you the newest of everything that Disney has in mind.
Exactly. And that hasn't been true for a long time for Disney. The last time that it was done in a really big way was also in Japan at Tokyo Disney Sea. And that, to my mind, not exaggerating, the best Disney park in the world.
Yeah. And do you think that could be true of the Abu Dhabi one for similar reasons then?
You think they'll take away the cup from Tokyo? They might. I would love to see it. I'd be there on opening day if they do.
Well, Brett, thanks, man, for taking time to help us understand this a little more. I definitely have a better feel for the story thanks to you.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for the call, Tom.
And if you want more of what Brett does, you can go check out yesmoreandco.com to get some cool stuff texted to you to buy every week.
Now, we listen to our supporters because we make this show for you. So if you have a few minutes, please fill out our annual DTNS survey. Let us know what about the DTNS family of shows is working for you and even what is not. It is fun to do and really does help us shape the show. You can check that out over at dailytechnewsshow.com/survey.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.
Finally, we end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Today, Bruce is helping us understand.
Bruce says, I never carried a data-only USB cable. This is in reference to juice jacking and security and privacy implications in terms of plugging your devices into something that you may not know very much about. Mm-hmm. But Bruce goes on, he says, I still carry a USB condom, a small USB-A to USB-A plug that makes any data cable only. I worked in cybersecurity. Now, the batteries are good enough. I don't need chargers during the day, even while traveling, unless I take a lot of photos.
Yeah, I don't have one of these. So it was like a little more than a week ago that I did this show with you. And we talked a little bit about a USB condom. And like, I don't have one of those. I do have a cable that has a switch in line that I can switch from data only to for charge only to data pass through. Right. And so when I go traveling, I take that, but I don't actually have one of these fancy USB condom thingies. Maybe I need to get one.
I have a few. They are pretty useful, especially for security implications. You know, if you're worried about plugging your devices in. One thing I would also recommend, if you have a wireless Qi charging device with that protocol on the back of it, you can easily just set your device onto a wireless charger. So far, I haven't seen any security issues with wireless charging on Qi chargers, even ones that are publicly available. And you could also just bring your own charger too, like your own battery device. But if we have one of those like 5,000 milliampere hour devices on hand, you might not need to charge it, just like Bruce says.
That's true. That is very true. They come in very handy. What are you thinking about? If you have insight into a story or thoughts, just share it with us. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Thanks to Brett and Bruce for contributing to today's show. Thank you, Shannon. It's always fun doing this show with you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. The show is made possible by our patrons on patreon.com/DTNS. Quick note, Tom is doing a workshop in Austin, Texas, of all places, the weekend of June 27th. You can find more at bestnewsever.com.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
It's dark in here, and there are wolves after me.
1-800-Flowers.com knows that a gift is never just a gift. A gift is an expression of everything you feel and helps build more meaningful relationships. 1-800-Flowers takes the pressure off by helping you navigate life's important moments by making it simple to find the perfect gift. From flowers and cookies to cake and chocolate, 1-800-Flowers helps guide you in finding the right gift to say how you feel. To learn more, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
Hey, this is Farnoosh Torabi from the So Money podcast. Running a business means wearing a lot of hats, but ordering supplies shouldn't be one of the ones you don't like. Walmart Business helps organizations like yours save time, money, and the headache of managing purchases. From office essentials to bulk break room snacks, it's all in one place, online, in-store, or right in their app. Sign up for free at business.walmart.com and get back to what really matters, running your business.